Hello and welcome to another video, and today I'm going to take you through my top diet mistakes. Number 1, trying to eat cereal with a fork. Number 2, getting carried away with the condiments. And number 3, missing your mouth. Jokes, although I would recommend you avoid all of those things. But today, on a serious note, I am going to be taking you through my top 6 diet mistakes and how you can avoid them. So, unless you want to die in your sleep tonight, drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What do you mean that's too far? No. What are you going to say next? I should stop throwing stones at the old lady across the road? She knows I'm joking. Okay, we're in and we're going to start at the beginning because, as the absolute pervert from The Sound of Music says, it's a very good place to start.
Let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
So, the number 1 diet mistake is that you're focusing too much on the quality of your diet over the quantity of your diet. Now, what I mean by this is that when people go on a diet, so they want to lose weight, their automatic reaction is to cut out all bad stuff. So they say, right, I'm never going to eat chocolate, I'm never going to eat cake, I'm never going to eat pizza, but I'm going to eat loads of salad and loads of chicken and loads of broccoli. Now, that's good and that will work to an extent, but it's important that you understand what's making you lose weight is not what you're eating, it's how much you're eating. So weight loss or weight gain works because of either a positive or a negative energy balance. So basically, if you want to lose weight, your calories must be below how many calories you're burning, and if you want to gain weight, your calorie intake must be above the amount of calories you're burning. That's that simple. Now, the content of your diet is obviously going to help because things like chicken breast and salads are going to be low calorie and they're going to fill you up. So it's going to make it easier for you to reduce your calories. But it's still really, really important that you understand why you are losing weight. And again, to emphasize this, you're losing weight because you are reducing the number of calories you are intaking. So for example, like chicken breast and sweet potato, they're good choices, but if you eat too much sweet potato, you're still gonna gain weight and not gonna be in a calorie deficit. So it's important that you either track your calories or you get really good at estimating your calories. So if you know, for example, that your maintenance calories, the amount of calories you need to maintain your body weight is say 2,500, you need to be at least a couple of hundred calories below that in order to start losing a significant amount of weight. So yes, focus on the quality of your diet to an extent, make sure you're making healthy choices, but at the same time understand that it is being in a calorie deficit that is going to make you lose weight, not what you're eating. There are no magic weight loss foods, right? Despite what people would have you believe, there is no combination of lettuce and kale and spinach and herbal tea that's going to make you automatically lose weight. Your body's not going to be like, kale and herbal tea, I'm going to lose weight. As soon as you understand that and you understand that it is a numbers game and it's about the number of calories you're consuming, you can start to be a little bit more lax and you can start having more enjoyable choices and still losing weight. And talking about the quality of your diet, that takes us on nicely to number 2, and that is that people are too restrictive with their diet. So what I mean by this is that, again, it's so common for people to go onto a diet and say, right, this is it. I'm never eating chocolate. I'm never eating donuts. I'm never eating cake ever again for the rest of my life. And that's just simply unsustainable. It's unrealistic. Unless you are a monk or someone cuts off your arms, at some point you are going to eat that stuff. So if you say to yourself, I'm never going to eat it again, all you're doing is setting yourself up to fail. And even if you can survive for a few weeks or even a few months, what's going to happen is at some point further down the line, you are going to cave. And because you've been suppressing that urge to eat that crap for so long, you are going to go berserk. You're going to end up eating 20,000 calories and go back to where you started. So a much more realistic way of doing things is just to eat stuff in moderation. So if you want to have some cake, fine, have some cake, but just have a bit. Don't eat a whole freaking cake. If you want to have a donut, have a donut, just don't eat 12 Krispy Kremes. And by telling yourself that yes, I can have these things just in moderation, the urge to have them won't be so strong, the novelty won't be there as much, and you won't be craving them 24 hours a day. Ultimately, if you want to go on a diet, it has to be sustainable. If you're doing something that you can't see yourself doing for the long term, then don't bother doing it in the first place because it's going to be a waste of time and ultimately you're going to fail. Because you're a loser with no friends. Sorry, got a bit carried away there. So number 3 is that you are changing too much too soon. Now, whether you want to lose weight or gain weight, it needs to be incremental changes over a longer period of time because that makes things more sustainable. What I mean by this is that when people go on a diet, sometimes they go too extreme, they cut their calories too far too early. So for example, if you are consuming 3,000 calories a day and you want to lose weight and you say, right, I'm going to cut it in half, I'm going to go down to 1,500 calories a day. Now, initially that's going to work really well and you're going to lose freaking loads of weight. But what's going to happen is that your metabolism is going to adapt, and after a period of time, 1,500 calories will then be your maintenance, and you will no longer be losing weight. Now at this point you're already eating a very small amount of calories each day. Where do you go from there? And the same works the other way. So if you want to gain weight, if you straight away double your calorie intake, at first you're going to gain freaking loads of weight, but again your metabolism is going to adapt at some point down the line, and at that point you're already eating so many calories, it's really hard to increase that. So what I would suggest is that you either increase or decrease your calories depending on your goals by a small amount, maybe even 100 or 200 calories a day at first, just enough to make sure that you're starting to lose or gain weight at the rate that you want. Now this varies pretty significantly based on the individual and their goals, but something like a pound of weight loss a week will be a good place to start. So if you find that you've started your diet and you're losing say 3-4 pounds a week, that's too much, increase your calories a bit, because by changing your diet incrementally rather than in big chunks, you're going to make losing that weight more sustainable. It's going to happen over a longer period of time, you're not going to get stuck, and most importantly, the weight you're losing is going to be predominantly fat rather than muscle and water. Like, to put it in simple terms, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to be losing weight on the highest number of calories you possibly can, because that's going to make it much more enjoyable and much more realistic in the long term. And talking about wanting to lose fat rather than muscle and water, that takes us on nicely to number 4, which is that you are focusing too much on your body weight as a whole. So what I mean by this is that when people go on a diet, it's very common for people to obsess over their weight on the scale. They weigh themselves every single morning and they get caught up in their body weight, and sometimes their body weight doesn't change, sometimes it even goes up, and they're thinking, hang on a minute, I'm eating less food, how is my body weight not going down? And the reason could be a number of things like water weight, for example. So if you drink loads of water in a day, you're not going to lose weight. In fact, you might even gain weight. This is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you've gained fat or you haven't lost fat. It just means that your water levels are slightly higher than normal. And conversely, you could spend a day out in the sun and not drinking much and your weight will drop drastically. That isn't a good thing. It doesn't mean you've lost loads of fat. It just means that you're dehydrated. Also, things like when you weigh yourself and where you weigh yourself are really important. If you weigh yourself in the morning versus the evening, in the evening you're going to be significantly heavier because you've been eating and drinking all day long. And even things like going to the toilet, like if you weigh yourself before going to the toilet versus after going to the toilet, that can make a significant difference depending on how much of an animal you are. So although yes, your body weight is important and it is a useful way of tracking your progress, do not obsess over it and do not make it the be all and end all. A better, more accurate indication of how well your diet is going is either checking your body fat. Now this is hard to do because I mean, like, most scales that read body fat aren't particularly accurate. You can do it kind of visually to an extent, like, I mean, it's probably better getting a friend to do it because it's very hard for yourself to be like neutral and unbiased when you look at yourself, but friends will generally be quite good at telling you whether you're looking like you're losing fat. Even better than that is how your clothes fit, okay? So I have clients whose body weight hasn't dropped too much, but like the waist on their jeans is now way looser. So if you measure your waist and you measure your body parts, that's also going to be another useful indication of how well the diet is going. But as a general rule, if you are tracking your body weight and your body weight is decreasing each week and you are training hard in the gym, the chances are the majority of the weight you are losing is going to be coming from body fat rather than muscle. Moving on to number 5, and that is mistaking cravings for hunger. Now this is a huge one. I have a couple of female friends in particular who spring to mind here. Now they're both pretty small girls, right? But we'll go out for a meal and they'll eat like a massive portion and they'll say, I don't understand, I'm still hungry. Like, you're not hungry, it's because you're craving. It's because you feel like having dessert. It's like a routine, like a habitual kind of psychological thing rather than an actual feeling of hunger. And it's very common for people to do this, and that's a mistake that leads to people eating too much food. They say, well, I'm hungry so I've got to eat, right? But like I said, if you've eaten a pretty substantial meal and you know you've got the calories you need, then the chances are you're not actually hungry, it's just cravings. And what you'll find is that if you can kind of resist, if you can go and do something else, distract yourself for say 10, 15, 20 minutes, then a lot of the time that feeling, that kind of craving will subside and you'll be okay. Like, how many times have you been eating a big meal, you've been kind of caught up in the moment, loving life, eating all this dessert, then you stop for a second, you stand up and you think, oh my god, I'm ridiculously full. Like, you could have stopped half an hour earlier, and if you left it for 10 minutes, you would have realized that you were no longer hungry and there was no need to eat all of the crap you just ate. So yeah, without going into too much detail, a lot of the time this can be down to like blood sugar spikes and things like insulin and the effect it has on your body. So like I said, if you can just distract yourself for a little bit of time, go and do something else, a lot of the time those feelings will subside and you'll be alright to get on with your day without eating more food than you need. And my 6th and final diet mistake is the diet starts tomorrow thing. Like, how many people do you know that have said that? Like, I've said it myself when I was younger. Like, it's so common, people to kind of like build up this diet in their head as the thing that's going to start from this magical point. Like, the diet starts tomorrow and therefore I can eat everything in the house today and it's fine because the diet starts tomorrow. Like, that's not how it works, right? Just like Someone might be on a diet and they have like one bad day where they eat like a couple of donuts and they weren't planning on doing it, and they freak out and they think, do you know what, I've ruined the diet, so I might have to go crazy for the rest of the day, but then I'll get back on the diet tomorrow. Like, just to be clear here, there is no magical point, like a threshold where you cross it and the calories don't matter. All of those calories you've eaten still count, right? So if you have one crazy day where you eat 10,000 calories and you say, do you know what, I'll start the diet from tomorrow, you've still overeaten by like 8,000 calories. You still have those 8,000 calories to get rid of over the rest of the week or the next like 2-3 weeks. Like, the calories you've consumed don't just disappear, they're in your system, they're in your body, you've consumed them, and you're then gonna have to work 10 times harder to get rid of those calories. So that small mistake you've made has become an enormous mistake, and it's undermined all the hard work you've put in up to that point. So what I would suggest in this situation, like assuming you're on a diet and you've messed up, so you go out and you have a pizza or you have like a burger or you have a donut and you're beating yourself up and you think, do you know what, I'll screw it, I'll just go and eat everything and I'll start again tomorrow. Rather than doing that, just see it as one mistake and move on. Like, your diet is like a continuous thing, it's happening 24 hours a day. It isn't like in day sections. Like, your body can't separate each individual day and see it as a separate thing. That's not how it works. It's not going to say, oh, do you know what, you've been good 6 out of the 7 days, one day 7, just eat 10,000 calories, it's fine, I'll just forget about it. Like, it's not how it works. It's an ongoing, rolling thing 24 hours a day, right? So the calories you consume over the week or over the month or over the year, they all add up, okay? You can't just write off one day in particular and move on from there. Just like the whole like cheat meal or cheat day thing. Like, you know, people say, oh, I'm gonna have one cheat day a week, but it's okay because I'm gonna eat really well for the other 6 days. If on that cheat day you eat a ridiculous surplus, you eat way too many calories, that damage is gonna be ongoing. It's not, you know, it's not gonna be written off when you wake up the next morning, it's still gonna be there. So like I said, if you do mess up on that one day, just isolate that one incident, get back to normal, continue going. Like, it's much easier to make up for 300 calories that you had by mistake than it is to make up for 5,000 calories because you felt bad about the 300 and you went nuts and ate loads more. And that is pretty much that. I'm gonna leave the video there, guys, because Sayers is due back in a minute and I haven't yet cleaned up the kitchen. And if she sees the mess I made with the barbecue sauce, she'll probably beat me around the head with a bottle and make me clear up with my toothbrush. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Like I said at the start, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you tomorrow.
You know what?